Hello and welcome back to White Lines Football. Lewis again here today, back for the next episode of the White Lines Football podcast. And I'm glad to say, I'm not alone today. We have the return of Ibs after many months.
Hello there, hope you all are good. It's been quite a while. Definitely been quite a while.
How's life treating you?
Good now because I'm home and I can relax. It's been very intense, but it's actually surprisingly fun. Just extraordinarily busy, but I've got 4 weeks now back home so I can relax a bit.
And do you want to just update us on White Lines F1 and where that stands?
Yeah, so as you guys are probably aware, I literally haven't even uploaded on White Lines F1 for about, I'd say it's been over a month now, which, I mean, I do take a lot of, there's no hiding. I've been extraordinarily busy with uni, with how intense my course is, so I've just not really been able to find the time. And as much as because at the moment the current state is the season's finished, there's not too much to talk about without doing a recap, but because the season's been done for a little while now, I just feel like I don't want to be putting out content for the sake of putting out content. If I want to do something, I want it to be original or interesting, or just something that's actually worth watching. At the moment, since the season's finished and everyone, even in the actual industry itself, are pretty much just taking a break, there's just not much to say. But the plan is, once the season kicks off, once testing and so on gets back in, I'll have more time, I'll be more organised, and I can pick up from where I left off.
Maybe we'll see a gaming video or something like that.
That's actually been on my mind for a little while, but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
We'll see. So, Ibs is back. Jolly good. Getting to the football. We're going to start off a little thing, because obviously the podcast is now coming to you on a Tuesday rather than a Friday. So it seems more appropriate to sort of look at the weekend. So if it's on a Friday, obviously it's just before the weekend, just sort of getting ready for the game. So it seems more appropriate to review the games in the week. So obviously this is not on a Tuesday because I was seeing Ibs today and we wanted to get Ibs in the podcast. So we're looking back a little bit now, but we're going to look at the weekend results from the Premier League. First up, the early kickoff. Actually saw a surprise. Leicester City ran out 3-0 defeats to Crystal Palace. Surprise some people, because obviously Leicester have done really well and the club well, sitting pretty in 8th in the Premier League. Crystal Palace, obviously we knew their early season struggles, but under Roy Hodgson, Ibs, our mate Roy, having a little bit of a resurgence. They got the win.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at that, I think there was going to be a lot of doubters, to say the least. I think, am I right in saying Leicester were home? Who would have thought that they were going to walk away and take the L on that game? Absolutely nobody, as far as I'm concerned. Leicester at home, they're doing very well. They're sitting in 8th. They're in a good position. You would have thought everything's on them for their big players to really come shine through, and especially because, am I right in saying, was it Benteke? I mean, where's he been all season?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he comes in, gets a goal. I was watching the highlights and he actually nearly got an own goal as well. But the point is, Palace just walked away with it, really. And of course, even though there was a red card, I mean, Palace are really struggling this season. So the fact they came out with a 3-0 win in that season, I mean, Zaha is,
he's playing really well.
What a player he is. So I'd say massive credit to Palace, but Leicester utterly crumbled.
Yeah.
And Ndidi, that red card, is one of the most unintelligent things I've ever seen. It actually reminded me of FA Cup final, Arsenal, and Victor Moses taking that red card for diving as well. I'm not doing that just as a shout out to Arsenal for when we were back in the day when we were alright, but generally just the same idiocy. Why would you do that when your team is up against it and he completely let his side down? He'd only just got the first yellow quite recently, and then he does that. So very good for Palace, just terrible for Leicester. Just a night to forget.
Yeah, you mentioned Zaha. I think since Townsend came to Palace, you'd normally associate Zaha and Townsend both playing on the right, and since Zaha's moved out to the left wing, he's actually really impressed quite a lot. So Crystal Palace's last away goals came against Liverpool in a 2-1 win in April, so that's a long time.
April, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is a long time. They're climbing out the table now, out of relegation. That's great for them. I think at the start of the season you'd have probably said they were certain to go down, but It's weird for Leicester because they've built a good defensive structure under Club. Well, but yeah, I'm sure they'll build up and get over it. Moving on to the next game, we've got your boys Arsenal. 1-0 win against Newcastle, who've been less than impressive as of late. Falling into relegation under Rafa Benitez, but Mesut Ozil got a pretty impressive goal.
Absolute screamer, and it's the big talking points with Arsenal. I've got to try and keep it snappy, not just about Arsenal, of course, because it's me talking about it. But the big thing with Arsenal at the moment is people keep pointing out two things. First of all, how bad our form is recently, especially since the United loss. And second of all, the eyes on Alexis and Ozil, that's always going to happen. And I've noticed that I feel like Ozil has really been putting a shift in for this season. I cannot fault Mesut Ozil this season. I just can't. In fact, it brings joy to my heart because everyone in Arsenal is saying, right, to Ozil and Alexis, if you're going to leave, then leave. Just put everything you've got into the team whilst we're out. Play for the badge whilst you're here because you're wearing that badge. And Ozil's responding, and that goal, so much. It didn't need to be in the top corner. It wasn't right in the top corner. It was more or less in the centre. But the technique was of a world-class striker, and a world-class player, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Then you've got Alexis, who scores now and then, but no one's really proud of him.
It's fallen a bit.
Yeah, I mean Newcastle, they're third from bottom.
Yeah,
they are. Let's put it simply, no disrespect, but disrespectfully, they are awful at the moment. They're going down. And you win 1-0 at home. That is and it is so depressing when imagine a team wins the match and gets a negative press for it.
Yeah.
We nearly drew that match. We nearly didn't even take 3 points because of how bad we were at the end. We invited them back in. How can you do that to a team who are third from bottom? They're in the relegation zone. And I mean, we've got We've got Liverpool next. I think I'm right in saying. And it's just saying that we look like we're just going to get spanked.
Do you think?
How can you justify?
I think since Wenger's gone back to the four at the back, I know it's only recent, but it seems to suit Arsenal a lot more. And I think they're not doing as bad as people thought they would. Obviously, they're above Spurs.
Yeah, no, we're doing as a season. We're doing okay.
Yeah,
it's just recently. That's our general Premier League performance has been a bit rocky in very recent times. It's been since the United game because we went in there and we went in with supreme confidence, and then everyone finished the game and we lost 3-1, but everyone felt like there was more in that game. Everyone knew that was a game where we could have taken points, if not 3 points, but because of two stupid mistakes in the first half, we'd taken the L. And we're not doing bad as a season. But you can just see we're starting to come to Christmas time. Players are starting to sort of lose it a little bit. We're not getting the energy. Jack Wilshere returning is a sight to behold. I mean,
first start in a while.
Yeah, I mean he's someone who. The question is, how will time affect him? How will actual game time affect him? But he's playing 90-minute matches, and he's looking okay. And that is such a beautiful sight because he is such a talent.
As for Newcastle, obviously struggling massively after a semi-bright start to the season. I think the whole takeover thing that I covered in the past couple of weeks is playing on their mind a bit. Rafa Benitez has said that his side needs something in January.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like the takeover is going to happen by then with Staveley. Whether Mike Ashley will invest money into the squad, it doesn't necessarily look like he will, because why would he want to invest his money into something that he wants to sell?
Not bring returns.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they need to sort it out by in January. Otherwise, they're in
Christmas period is going to be absolutely huge for that club if they want any chance financially and generally in their performances. And I think it'll coincide. If one goes up, the other will, but it's looking pretty bad for Newcastle.
Brighton and Burnley played out a 0-0. Not much to report in this game. Glenn Murray missing the penalty was pretty much the highlight of it. I think many people are putting money on him to score, but Burnley's fine form continues.
Yeah, what a story they are.
Yeah, obviously flirting with the Champions League places.
I said to my, I think it was my brother, and actually some people I reckon the first team that beat City is going to be Burnley.
Yeah,
I reckon the first team to beat Manchester City is going to be Burnley. They'll do a shock performance because
I think Burnley lost 3-0 to Man City, and it was seen as a success because of how well City are playing.
Yeah. But Burnley are playing fantastic. That was a very empty game, very dull game. They should have lost, but I mean, they're as a squad, they're playing fearlessly at the moment.
I think the Burnley defensive structure is just so good.
Yeah.
Michael Keane's gone out, James Tarkowski's come in and just slipped straight back in, if not impressed more than Keane. And Ben Mee there, I think if people go out injured, you just bring someone else in, you know what I mean?
And the style of football they're playing is they're really punching above their weight with the style of football they're playing. But it's the fact how impressive they are with the way they're doing it. When they came to Arsenal, the main thing people were saying was, I mean, I watched Arsenal Fan TV, and we were saying credit to Burnley, like how good they were, because we went in thinking it's Burnley, even though they're doing well, but they were just that good as a team. So you have to put your hats up to them. You can't dislike how well they're doing. So you can only really appreciate it.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate for Brighton, but Burnley keep their run going. Chelsea against Southampton. Now this didn't have too much to it. Southampton looked impressive early on. They were pressing quite high and it looked really good. I was listening to the front three last night, and Nico made the point that when the goalkeeper's not too comfortable on the ball, you can do that, which you can't necessarily do at City, which is partly why they've been so successful. But again, like the Arsenal game, a moment of magic, a free kick from Marcos Alonso.
I mean, was it a moment of magic though, or was it a case of Forster just letting his team down?
Do you think?
Basically, to sum it up, Forster wasn't ready for the free kick to be taken.
Okay.
He was basically standing. Alonso starts his run up. Forster's not looking towards it. He's looking at his goalposts. He's literally, and when he goes to dive, he doesn't dive. He scrambles and then dives because he realizes, oh no, there's a free kick being taken. It was a great free kick by Alonso, but actually it was pretty poor to let in because Forster has to have that covered because he wasn't paying attention. If you watch it back, it was not actually, and it's a real shame because Southampton had a very good game. They had a very solid game, and if that didn't go in, Southampton get a point, maybe even get a win. They had a very good match, and they held Chelsea back and did their bit. So, I don't know. Forster's man, he's really got to get himself back in form, get his name back out there.
Yeah, he is sometimes questionable because obviously we've got the amount of talent coming through in English goalkeepers right now.
He has mistakes in him, and I am a huge fan of Forster. I think I said to you a while back.
Yeah.
But that was a novice move.
Yeah, he's got with the likes of Pickford, Butland, Heaton, if he's fit. Yeah. You've got the likes of Nick Pope, Joe Hart still around. He's going to have to be pushing in his case to go to the World Cup. In terms of Chelsea, Antonio Conte feels like Chelsea being forgotten a bit because of Manchester City. Yeah. Their 8th win in 10 Premier League games for Chelsea. Hot on the tails of Manchester United in many ways. Do you think they're being sort of undermined a little bit because of the focus on the battle between Man United and Man City?
I think in simple terms, yes. I think that between Chelsea and United, what is it, like 3 points? It's pretty much is one game in that. So, but you can't. I think when you've got City, a team who are looking to break records, not just in the most amount of points a team has taken in a season, but also they're looking to be the first team since Arsenal in 2004 to go a season undefeated, which is frightening. I think you can't help but feel like your team's being shadowed. So the only reason your team is under the cover is being overshadowed is because the only reason you wouldn't be overshadowed is because your team's either doing really well like City or doing really poor like other teams, or you're somewhere in between. And Chelsea are in that sort of grey area where, as much as you love to talk about them because they're such a huge team and they're fighting quite well for second place, they're only really fighting for second. I mean, everyone looks at them with fear. So, and I think Conte's making a point, although he keeps making the point about their fixtures as well. Although I feel like every big team at some stage does that, really.
If you want to be the best team,
and you've got to have a squad who, actually like Burnley, who can just switch out a player and not lose any quality. Yeah. So I think I do agree actually with Conte, but I think it's a case of you can't actually do anything about it. How do you take headlines when you're fighting for second? So it's not much really more in that, in my opinion.
What about Southampton? Shown glimpses under Pellegrino, but they are struggling lower.
Yeah, I would say
lower mid-table.
Yeah, they're lower than they should be. I think. I think what really is a shame is that if I was Southampton and if I was in the dressing room, I would be looking at Southampton saying, "Look, we can walk away from this game and take some momentum. We've got to take the positives right now because we're not playing at our best, but we're not doing bad. They're not doing bad. I mean, mid-table or low mid-table isn't bad place to be. It's just they can push themselves up to 10th, maybe 9th, maybe even higher than that. They have got a lot more in them, and I think the performance at Chelsea, one mistake by the goalkeeper, it was a fluke mistake, doesn't happen often, but if they can take the drive and and a bit of fearlessness about themselves and try and express themselves a bit more, then I think they'll be okay. So I think they've got more in them.
Yeah, I think I've got to give Pellegrino a bit of time for his ideas because he's looked impressive some games. Next game, Watford against Huddersfield. I think this surprised a few people because Watford have done okay under Marco Silva so far.
But they keep getting red cards.
Yeah,
they can't
2
red
cards
in
this game. Deeney and Hogg. Deeney doesn't have a great record playing for Watford this season.
Yes, he's definitely not the guy who we were once screaming about.
Yeah, but in terms of Huddersfield, 1 week they get battered. Next week they come out of some random result. Halfway to Premier League survival, David Wagner reckons. Do you think they're going to stay up? Because obviously they're coming out with these results.
Well, I mean, they're in 11th place. I mean, it would take something quite extraordinary, like incredible, if they went from being 11th place to dropping into the bottom, I think. Even though it's not that massive, I think they're doing pretty well. I think they are in a good position to stay halfway to survival, and I think when you're a team like Huddersfield, you will be saying that the main goal is always just survival. And I think a game like that against Watford you can only walk away with the positives. They won't care that it was because there was a red card. They will maybe care about their own red card, but they won't care about the circumstances of Watford. That was a massive performance, and especially because they're rivals to each other. They're next to each other in the table. So that's huge for their season. So I think they're doing a good case for themselves. I think they should only look at it positively and move on from there. As for Watford, I mean, they've got to sort out this calamity they're having with themselves with players who really enjoy red cards at the moment. So, and they're only making things worse for the next games. I mean, even though Deeney's not in form or anything like that, you still need him out there.
He's still the captain.
Yeah, he's still the captain. He's still someone who can bring in goals when he's on form, and he's just not going to be there now for a game or so. So
it's a bit of a weird result. I feel like both teams will be fine though. They've got good coaches.
Yeah.
Moving on swiftly to Stoke against West Ham. 3-0 win for West Ham.
Where are Stoke this season? They are pretty bad.
It's all coming up Millhouse for David Moyes. West Ham.
David Moyes, what a man.
I mean, people were questioning him when he came in, but he seems to actually sort it out.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Which is, I think when you've got the problem is David Moyes. Remember when he was at Everton? Everyone loved him.
Yeah,
he was and the problem is people are forgetting that he is genuinely a really good manager.
Yeah,
it's just he happened to go into the United job, and it doesn't matter. Like if you go into the United job, it doesn't matter who you are. You've got to be either one of the best managers in the world, or you've got no chance, really. And so and the problem is people are always going to remember him as that guy who walked into Man United and didn't have a bloody chance.
Yeah.
But the problem is you're forgetting that he is actually a really solid manager.
Yeah.
So when he comes into the West Ham job, people were saying he's going to be a flop. They just won 3-0, and actually, he's doing well. He is doing well. He is a good manager. He's like Pardew, who has actually a history of actually coming in and making a good difference.
Yeah.
He's a very underrated manager because of bad bits in the past.
I think some of his tactics are a bit stale and at past clubs, and his media skills aren't top notch. Like when he went into Sunderland, he sort of said like, "We're gone.
Yeah,
we're going to face trouble anyway."
He's a very monotonous man. He's not a charismatic individual, but you can't question he's not a smart man though.
Yeah, I think West Ham are going to be alright. It's safe to say it looks better than it did under Bilic.
Yeah.
Arnautovic as well, scoring against his former club.
Oh, that was fiery.
Had about 80 shots, celebrated after he scored.
Yeah. He deserved that. He enjoyed that.
Yeah.
He was getting a lot of stick, so he showed a lot of steeliness in him to do what he did. So, and he was a troublemaker. He was such a troublemaker on that pitch. He was frightening. Stoke was scared of him. He was really, really good on the ball. His finishing wasn't always brilliant.
Yeah.
There was he could have got more, but he was a constant issue, and that is always good. And I think he really thrived off of being the bad boy in that game. I think he really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Even Hughes? Yeah, Mark Hughes. Even he was telling him to just get off and go away, but he was subbed off. And that's it's just kind of
shut him up.
Yeah, just shook it off.
Do work on the pitch and talk about Hughes.
Yeah.
I think Stoke are in a little bit of trouble.
Bit of a position. They're 1 point of relegation? Ouch. Stoke City. The question is, can you do it on a rainy day in Stoke? It seems the answer is yes.
Things for Stoke is it looks like they've brought all these players in under Hughes and
they're not getting.
And then the players he's gone to rely on is Crouch, who was bought pre-Hughes and is about 80 years old.
Yeah.
And Juve as well, who's been playing out of position. I think the stupid wing-back system that Stoke have been...
is he trying to overcomplicate? Is he trying to overcomplicate it to try and bring shine on these new boys?
Yeah.
But they're not. They're just not doing anything. They're just not producing.
It looks like a change is imminent at Stoke.
Yeah.
Wrapping up Saturday with the late kick-off. Many people thought that they might be able to do the job. They might be the team to beat City. It turned out to be the complete other way. Man City ran out 4-1 winners. Spurs in a little bit of bad form, obviously. We're going to cover that later. But looking at Manchester City, we'll cover the game first. Gundogan's goal.
Wow.
From a corner, left completely unmarked.
It was...
a little bit of a mix between zonal and man-to-man marking, and he was just left completely free.
Yeah. He didn't even put that much power on it. He just sort of directed it.
Yeah, I think he was surprised of how free. He was like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, it was like one of those headers that you do like as a defender when you don't know if you're going to hit it or not. You just sort of stand in the right place and hope for the best.
Yeah.
He literally stood there. It was genuinely shocking. It was like Arsenal used to get so much stick for doing zonal because we're like, it doesn't work. You leave men free.
I mean, I think it has its positives and negatives, but like that is a big negative.
That is a poor and Gundogan literally didn't do anything for that goal. It's so bad because you could at any level of football, if there's a man free, you got to have someone covering him. You got to have someone who's aware. No one, not a single person, made any effort for him, and that's just poor. And it set the tone really for the rest of the game for City to walk off with it.
And obviously, two of the 4 men at Manchester City, De Bruyne and Sterling.
God, what do you do?
Performing well, but Manchester City, it's got to the stage. I tweeted out the other day that if you concede fewer than 4 goals in a game, you're doing
all right. Yeah, if you only concede 3 times, then you're like, it's all right.
Yeah, it's pretty job, lads. Good shit. Take us a move forward.
Keeps. I saw you making like 2 saves out of 5. Not bad, my son.
The league's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's they've. I mean, who wants to give them a trophy? Me or like just give Honestly, it's so. I don't want to. I mean, I can. Are they going to flop? I mean, come on. I mean, they're doing so well.
Couldn't they go undefeated? Do you think? I mean, they've beaten pretty much everyone putting their path.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they did go undefeated, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't.
Burnley are going to show up, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I mean, but my point is because we're coming up to Christmas. There's going to be so much time for everyone to regroup, and that space away is going to be such a test. City are so bloody good at the moment. You don't really have time to exploit it because you're already a couple goals down. De Bruyne, we thought he had a crunching tackle on him. Was it by Dele Alli? Yeah. Who's let's not talk about him because he's so bad at the moment. But actually, let's talk about him later. And De Bruyne got up, got mad, got a goal. It's so brilliant because he's under pressure, and he's got injured. And a lot of the times when that happens, you sort of roll around and you probably back off from that stage. But he had a fighting spirit about himself, which is something of a champion, which is a bit ironic considering how well he's doing and where he's going. He just got up and proved a point, and he proper stuck it in Dele Alli's face and Tottenham's face, the way he responded. And that is something that, as I said, you can only praise him for. It's frighteningly good. And the stark contrast between City and Tottenham, a Tottenham team who actually have a thing of going to teams and playing kind of fearlessly, like when they beat Chelsea 2-0. They're a strong side. They looked so scared. I couldn't believe it, and I would like to take some praise from it as an Arsenal fan, because I can't help but say that some of the reason why they're playing bad is since they lost to Arsenal, because everyone was saying we were going to get battered.
Yeah.
And since then, they're just off form. Harry Kane's sort of coming back now, getting a goal now and then since. But Dele Alli's nowhere to be seen. And generally,
Ericsson slipped a lot as well. And then he got the goal against
that was
City,
decent. But it was so late. I mean, it was only ever going to be a consolation.
It wasn't the result that Spurs were looking for. We will go on to cover Spurs a little bit later. City, though, do look like they run away from it. With it. Going on to Sunday, West Brom against Man United, Manchester United running out 2-1 winners. It looked pretty routine from what I saw. West Brom obviously got that late goal later on that made it a little bit interesting, but
they never really seemed like they were.
Yeah, pretty straightforward result for Manchester United.
They won't be too happy that they made it so close.
Yeah,
ultimately, because West Brom they're in the relegation zone, they're pretty screwed, but. It was still, if you actually watch it, was somewhat routine, really.
So, not much to cover there. Lukaku getting a goal. He's had some hate.
Rightly so though. In fairness, I mean, he hasn't been. He's really dipped, but good to get himself on the score sheet. And he will grow from it. That is the way he does things. He will grow.
Also on that day, Liverpool kept up their good form.
They were
in the top four. Beating Bournemouth 4-0 at the Vitality Stadium. The front four impressing, except apart from Mane, who didn't actually get on, but Coutinho's goal in particular really stood out for me, dribbling through. He obviously got asked a question after the game, I don't know if you saw it, when he was standing with Oxlade-Chamberlain, and the reporter sort of said to him, like, how great is it to be a Liverpool player until the end of the season or whatever, he's basically like asking him when he's going to leave. And Coutinho sort of like awkwardly stood there, and Oxlade-Chamberlain sort of stepped in like, I don't think it's fair for you to be asking this, he's a Liverpool player at the minute and all this, so that was nice. Lovren's goal was good for me. I genuinely cannot stand Lovren as a defender, but this was a good goal. Firmino did well to keep it in. Lovren, as you can see, sticking his face in where it hurts, and obviously Salah and Firmino getting their goals. Liverpool looking fluent at the minute. Defensive record's going quite well actually. Since I've slated them on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, the defensive record's going well. Bournemouth are in a little bit of trouble. Falling down the league under Eddie Howe, 16th at the minute, I believe. But Eddie Howe's been questioned a little bit about his signings. Sometimes the way he plays against bigger opposition, but I think Bournemouth will be okay. Do you think?
I think they've definitely got a chance because I even though Eddie Howe's questionable at times, I think he's a decent manager though. I think he's okay. Yeah, he's a good young manager. I think he does need opportunities. I think he will make mistakes and so on, but I think Bournemouth are a decent side who are just a little bit out of form at the moment, but I can see them picking up. I think they have got good individuals. I think they have got a decent manager once he gets himself around it and starts playing. I do think they'll be alright. I can't see them getting relegated if I'm honest, especially if you look at the teams who are really struggling. I can't see how it's possible that of all the teams, Bournemouth are the ones to go down. So I think they are going to finish the season. I would expect still in the bottom half, but I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I'd hope so. And one of those teams struggling is Swansea, who lost 3-1 to Everton on Monday.
Wow, they are.
Everton was struggling, but since Big Sam's come in, they've done well.
Yeah, they've really pulled out the bag.
It seems like he's got a little bit of a formula to work out that attacking midfielder situation. Obviously using pace a bit more now, such as Aaron Lennon, Lookman getting a look in as well. Sigurdsson and Rooney coming up with the goals and Calvert-Lewin as well.
Worldies.
Rooney's in some good form at the minute.
Yeah, he's fine.
Has he got one last World Cup in him, do you think?
I would no. Okay. He hasn't got a World Cup in him. He's definitely he's rolling back the years at Everton, but I mean I think I imagine imagine him trying to do this and playing in the World Cup as well is where I would see him struggle, because there's a reason why when he was at United he took a sitting back role. There's a reason why his form is coming now. He's not. And also, I think generally, his position generally, I think English talent who would feel a little bit hard done if they got replaced by Rooney again. I think that would be a little bit taking the mick. But I mean,
like the route Southgate would go down, given how he gave youth a chance.
Yeah,
recently.
exactly. So I mean, the way they're getting the managers making the decisions, I think it wouldn't make sense. Even though technically Rooney's doing he's doing so well at the moment. If he went into an England shirt, he'd probably do okay. I just think it just doesn't make sense with the way that decisions are being made at England for him to come back.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be nice as a tribute, but
yeah,
you wouldn't go further than that.
So Everton obviously winning 4 of their last 5 games.
Yeah, they're really on form. So it's nice to see.
A draw against Liverpool. Up to 9th now, but Swansea rock bottom. Swansea sort of lost their identity of being a well-run club. Like under the likes of Martinez, Rodgers.
I remember under Martinez, I in particular really liked them, and I thought they were a team who, I think they were one of those teams who really did like to punch above their weight at times, and now they are only getting punched below the belt because they are just getting slapped.
Maybe Tony Pulis could do a
it would
job
make
there.
sense. It would make sense, but to bring him back and do something like that, he's one of those guys who you would bring in to do those kind of things.
And he's Welsh, so there we go.
Be literally just supporting his local club, basically.
There we go.
But they're under a lot of trouble at the moment.
That wraps up this weekend's fixtures. Going to move on to talk about the Champions League. It's something you know quite well, being an Arsenal fan. Obviously, the draw was in the last couple of weeks. So we've got the draw here. We're going to go through each individual game. First of all, 5 English teams in the last 16.
That's amazing.
It's good to see, even though Arsenal aren't one of them.
Who cares? Who cares?
The dominance of English football in Europe may be back. Do you think?
Yeah, sure. Great. Yeah.
Doesn't seem to want to talk about this.
No.
But,
I mean, it is, on a serious note, it is awesome to see. I mean, I think, especially because one of the massive things that people always say is, oh yeah, Premier League's best league in the world, but that's only because they haven't got Barcelona and Real Madrid in it. That if it was them 2 teams were there, then everyone would forget and it'd just be the same old. But no, the English teams have got so much talent that they are really making a name for themselves. And if one of them, which there is obviously a good chance now that one of them was to go in and win it, then you know what, I think it sets a fantastic standard for the Premier League and so on, and for English football.
Yeah,
get rid of some of that stigma.
I think at the minute it's a prime time. Obviously you've got 5 teams, which isn't normal because obviously Man United winning the Europa League last year. And if you look at the big teams, Bayern are a team in transition, obviously bringing back an old coach. Barcelona are in transition after losing Neymar, etc. Real Madrid are struggling this season in La Liga, so maybe it's a good time. First game that we're going to sort of look at is Juventus versus Tottenham. Juventus had a bit of a sloppy start to the season. Maybe losing Bonucci has something to do with that. But they're coming up now, only 1 point behind Napoli in Serie A. They face Spurs in the round of 16. Spurs are probably hoping they could avoid a tough game, winning their group. The group of death, so it seemed to be. It's going to be an interesting game, isn't it? Because Juventus is usually so good defensively.
Yeah.
Spurs are good going forward, but also defensively. How do you see that one playing out?
I can see this being very, very close, especially because for some parts they eliminate each other's strengths. Juventus, I don't think are going to be as good going forward as Tottenham, in my opinion. But I can see Juventus winning this one, if I'm honest, at home at least. But I think that would be a very, very close one to call. Yeah. So I don't even want to call it, but I can see Tottenham going out.
Okay, that would be a shame because it seems like they're focusing on Champions League this season, which we'll go on to later. Yeah. But on one-off games, Spurs are still quite impressive.
That's absolutely true.
Well, many people thought they were going to be the team to beat Man City, which didn't happen. But that'll be certainly
they're off form at the moment. So
also, the first leg to be played on the same day as Juventus Tottenham. It's Basel against Man City. Probably a decent draw, the best draw probably that Man City could have hoped for.
For good reason. I mean, they're gonna kind of smash up Basel, let's face it. I mean, is there much more to say about that one, really?
Can you see Man City going all the way in the Champions League, as well as the League Cup, because they've still got this pressure being in all the competitions?
No, is my answer. I think I can see, especially in those European games, I can see a lot of them, especially like the big boys. I can see De Bruyne getting targeted. I can see Aguero getting targeted. I can see Silva getting targeted, especially with these rugged teams coming out, especially in Europe. I can see them getting in a lot of trouble. And I think when I say no, I don't mean no, they haven't got the ability to win the Champions League. No, they haven't got the ability to win the FA. I just can't see them winning all of them. I can't see them winning the Premier League. I say and the Champions League, but I can see them maybe winning Premier League and the Champions League, or the Premier League and the FA Cup.
Just not all four.
Yeah, and the Carabao rather, and so yeah, not all four.
So you can see them potentially going all the way in the Champions League.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's close call. I can see that obviously they've got so much talent in the team that they've got players who they can replace, but then you can't replace De Bruyne, because if you want someone to replace De Bruyne, you only get De Bruyne. Yeah, that's the point of, and the same with Aguero and maybe even Silva at certain times. So I can see it. I think it depends on whether their players will stay fit, because obviously even though we saw when Gundogan, for example, came in and just did his role and he came in, after not playing for a while and suddenly just slotting in, getting a goal, helping put in a shift. I can see if certain roles, certain players do start to go, I think they'll be in a lot more trouble and they'll find it a lot harder. So if they keep players fit, then yes, I can see them winning it.
Yeah, I think the squad depth is important. Second favourites to them in, I think, to PSG, and PSG face Real Madrid.
That is such a fire.
Could have easily been the final. Yeah, Real Madrid obviously not great this season. Obviously losing to Spurs, struggling a little bit in La Liga. PSG,
credit to Spurs though in that game.
Yeah, PSG doing well in the domestic competition, but again losing to Bayern in the Champions League. So to be fair, if PSG do want to win it, like their favourites tag suggests, they're going to have to beat.
Yeah, they have to beat these
Real
teams.
Madrid.
They have to beat Real Madrid. So I mean, who do I think between them two? I think honestly Real Madrid are probably going to get this one, even though I honestly just because I can't. I just can't see them losing to PSG. I know they lost to Tottenham, but then Tottenham at the time were scary. They were that good. I think the likes of Ronaldo and so on are going to come up good. I just can't see like Cavani scoring against Madrid. I don't know why it is, but I feel like Cavani's a bit of a waste sometimes. He's such a talented player. I know they've got like Neymar and all those boys and so on, but I would put my prediction on Real Madrid, which is a very risky call, because considering how destructive PSG are, I know they are absolutely incredible as individual players and domestically, but I can see Real Madrid taking that one, because I think that's just what they do.
It is a little bit of battles all over the pitch. I mean, you've also got Ronaldo facing up against the PSG defence.
I mean, look, they flopped to Barca. I know they weren't as strong as they are now, but they flopped. They conceded 6 goals at Camp Nou and so on. So I mean, I can see them flop. I can see them basically just.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think again, like Neymar, Mbappe, Cavani, etc. against Real Madrid defence. I don't know how that's gonna fare out and how well Madrid will deal with that. Again, you've got the battle in midfield. You've got Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, and then the likes of
that's true actually.
Verratti and Rabiot, etc. But it'll be a tough game over 2 legs. It's probably the most exciting on paper.
Yeah. The more you say the names, the more I think, oh god, PSG are really actually more in it than I said it. Now I think about, especially, I don't know. I just want to watch it. It's going to be great.
Another great game that looks like it should be great is Chelsea against Barcelona.
Fire match.
Not a great draw for Chelsea. Probably one of the teams you'd want to avoid early on. Barcelona impressive. They're probably going to take this one, do you think?
If history repeats itself, then Chelsea could do a surprising victory and Torres will come in and chip the keeper at the last minute or something like that. But... I think at the moment, this is something that Barca will enjoy. Even though Chelsea are going to be, you cannot take them for granted. I think this is a game where I think Barca are in a much better position than Chelsea.
Yeah, I think by this point, in February, Dembele is going to be back. Barcelona are going to be near enough at full strength, barring the other injuries. Chelsea, again, we don't know what's going on there in some circumstances. Obviously, David Luiz has been out of the team for a while.
There's a lot of controversy about it right now.
Yeah, they're trying a little bit of a new thing with Hazard at false 9 and playing sort of 3 centre midfielders rather than 2 and then 2 wingers. Maybe due to the loss of Matic, but I just think Barcelona are too good. I think Barcelona, in my opinion, will go on to win the whole thing.
Yeah, okay. I'll accept on that. I think that's a fair view to take.
One draw, which is probably quite unfortunate for the latter team, is Bayern versus Besiktas, where Besiktas did so well in qualifying,
And then they get
Bayern in the next round.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bayern runners up in their group as well. Besiktas has got under good form, but Bayern doing well.
Yeah.
Maybe a surprise here, but
Yeah, do you know what? I think Bayern are going to lose.
do you think?
No.
Over too late? Oh,
No.
okay.
Bayern are going to So, as much as I loved...
You actually had me there.
Yeah. Really? Oh,
Yeah, you
oh
actually
dear.
did.
Oh dear, well, you had it here first. I am the king of the poker face. But no,
It wouldn't be bad to see Besiktas go through though.
yeah,
because
I
pushing
mean,
the
there would be
Turkish league.
such if they imagine if they were to win, how much of an upset that would be. I know they were in really good form, but then when they hit a true quality squad of Bayern, who can go out and beat teams like Madrid and Barca and so on, and I think there will be. It's one of those cases where it's like Leicester. They go into the Champions League, and even though they're really punching above their weight, they can only punch so hard. So
I think it's interesting because if you look at this potentially, if Besiktas win, they could get the winner of Shakhtar Donetsk versus Roma, for example, in the next round, and that's winnable. So then
yeah,
you've got Besiktas in the semi.
for Besiktas, it's actually a case of there is genuinely so much to play for. It's not going to be a case of we win Bayern and that's it, and then we'll probably get knocked out. I mean, they actually could take it to the finals if they were to win, but then Bayern is such a roadblock.
Yeah.
So
we'll go back up to here to Porto against Liverpool. That's an interesting game.
yeah, actually, that really is. That'll be actually quite interesting to watch for sure.
Liverpool's first. I mean, I suppose you could say Sevilla a test, but the first proper test in Porto.
Yeah,
that
don't
attack
take
in
them for
front,
granted.
Yeah. Liverpool, do you think?
I mean, if their attacking squad are fully on form, I fear for Porto. But if they're not, then I fear strongly for Liverpool.
I feel like it is quite easy to play Liverpool sometimes. Sit back.
That's my this is my issue, which is that if Liverpool aren't in their stride, they're quite a weak squad actually. When they're not when they're not truly on it, they're pretty weak. And defensively, I mean, as we were saying, like, at the moment their form defensively has been pretty decent, but I would say that's just because their attacking squad are doing so much. So when they go abroad and they've got to rely on them, a lot more question marks are going to be raised. So it'll really put their endurance into question. So Porto again, as I said, don't take them for granted. They definitely have the ability to come out and pull out an upset here.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a good watch.
Yeah, it will be tough. Shakhtar Donetsk versus Roma. I think here you probably got to go Roma, but I think Chelsea will be kicking themselves because if Chelsea had have won their group over Roma, Chelsea would have been facing Shakhtar Donetsk. You've probably got to go Roma in that one. We'll skim over that game. We'll finish on Sevilla versus Man United. We've seen what Sevilla did against Liverpool. Yeah. Getting those 3 goals in the second half.
Again, Sevilla are a solid squad. They are a very solid squad. So,
do you think Man United are? When you say like the Champions League is basically like a one-off thing, so like you want to do well in a couple of games to get through. Mourinho's really good at game management, so maybe Man United could be an outside shout for the Champions League this year. I think is that too far?
I don't think it's too far at all. Actually, I think especially because they've got a lot of experience in their squad, a lot of players who and especially Mourinho. And obviously, you can then say, well, look at United. I mean, look at City and look at Chelsea and all these guys and so on. But I think United definitely have a lot of intelligence in that squad and talent. And I think Mourinho, as you said, that game management is going to be very crucial in controlling the players and seeing how far he can take them throughout the tournament. So, are they a shout? Yes, in simple terms. I would say I couldn't see them beating a team like, I couldn't see them maybe winning against Real Madrid and Bayern and PSG on most days. But I think if they were fully on form, like United actually were at the start of the season, for example, they are extremely scary. They are frighteningly good. So if Mourinho can on those games when it matters, do it, then I think United do have a definite chance here.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we touched on it a little bit earlier. The third topic we're going to talk about today, Spurs' poor form. So it's sitting down in 7th after they were back to do well this year. Sitting down in 7th. On the surface of it, why do you think it's like Burnley ahead of them? You've obviously got Arsenal. We spoke of Spurs competing for the title. They are 21 points behind Manchester City.
To be fair, by the end of the season, I reckon second place will be 35 points behind City. The way they're going.
What's the cause of Spurs? Apart from losing to Arsenal, what is the cause of Spurs' poor form?
I think they've got individuals in their team who just aren't capable of going the whole season. They are. We saw them when in the season when Leicester won the league, that we were like, oh, Tottenham are actually gonna. It was Arsenal, Tottenham, and Leicester. Tottenham should have come second that season, for example, and they didn't. Why? Because their players, as individuals, flopped. We're seeing Harry Kane's really struggling at times. Yeah, he got a goal last game. Yeah, he's picking up form. Dele Alli's nowhere to be seen. We're getting Eriksen, who's he got that goal again, but he's they're not firing on all cylinders, and I think that the issue with the squad is how I think historically their issue has always been their endurance, and I still think that's the issue with this squad. I think they really should have picked themselves up after the Arsenal game, and I think that really did take a kick to them, because that was a bit like what happened at Arsenal after United. In fact, it was almost identical. It was a case of really on form, going into a big game, but they think they should win it, and they didn't win it at all. They just weren't competitive in that game. So, and I think that's where the underlying issue is within the squad. I think Pochettino is a wonderful, incredible manager. I think he's absolutely fantastic, but he's not perfect. He definitely has a lot more to do to the squad. I think as individuals though, do they need more depth in the squad?
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
What I think. They definitely need a bit more depth.
I think a lot of the problems come from not necessarily relying on Harry Kane, but relying on Toby Alderweireld. So we've seen him injured for a while now. And it sort of screwed Spurs' whole system over. Yeah. For a lot of it, Eric Dyer's been dropping into centre-back, and that means he's no longer in the midfield, because obviously Wanyama's injured as well. So you haven't really got that holding player in there. I know Winks and Sissoko have been partnering each other quite a bit, and you've not really got that.
Winks is more for the future, not now, in my opinion.
Yeah, but even looking now, he's not a holding midfielder, and you've got that in Dyer and Wanyama, and then Dyer's dropping back into defence rather than Foy, for example, and there's not that holding player in midfield, and Alderweireld's so key to playing out the back as well. And I think based on that, the whole sort of system has been screwed, because if you look at the 3-4-3 they were originally playing with Alderweireld, Sanchez and Vertonghen, and then Alderweireld's dropped out, Dia's gone in, and then Wanyama's not there either, which is a big miss as well. But then you've got Sissoko and Winks there, and then
they're not as competitive in the middle as they should be, as they need to be. They're not as strong.
Yeah, and then obviously, like you say, Ali and Eriksen haven't been great, and then they've got no one to turn to really. No. You've got Llorente on the bench, and
he's not really gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, he's decent, but he's not really.
He's not the one that's going to play week in, week out and guarantee you a good performance. Dele Alli, you mentioned earlier. Where's he gone? Does anyone know where he is?
Koscielny's pocket still? I don't know.
Yeah, he's not been great. Dipping out of form, which isn't great, because obviously Ali is so key to the goal scoring and the creating all in one.
Yeah.
And like
he
you
is
say,
still childish though.
Yeah, the problem of lack of depth, Ali's not turned up, and they've got to persist with him, and he's not.
They have to, if they want. The problem is they're still a squad who, they don't really spend. I don't think they don't really have. They definitely need to get more, and I think that is where the criticism comes in of the manager and so on. But I don't want to add too much more to what you're saying, simply because I can only really agree with it. I think they have got a lot of issues where they're not a squad who, when they lose one of their big players, they can switch someone out who's equally strong. I don't think they have that names or the size of their squad, or of the club in general, really, to be able to do that. So I think that's where the issues lie, as simple as that. Dele Alli, he's just off form, and he's not creative. That's where he's at his best, when he's willing to be creative. he scores a potential goal of the season when he flicks it over his head and slaps in a fantastic volley and stuff like that. And his footwork can be great, but then he's also a bit of a kid. When push comes to shove, he's not as strong as he thinks he is.
So why do you think they're doing so well in the Champions League? Obviously, topping their group.
Could it not just be because they're just not as frequent? When they have got the availability, maybe Pochettino is setting up games so they can go into Europe and be a bit more competitive. Maybe I think that's probably where it is.
Maybe it's just a shift in focus because last season, if you look at where they went out of the Champions League in the group stage and then the Europa League in the first knockout round, and last year they put a good shift in the league. This year they've really dropped in the league in 7th, and we're almost halfway through the season. But in Champions League they've gone undefeated. They're in the first knockout round. They've got Juventus, which is a winnable tie, but maybe they're focused on the Champions League a little more. But more importantly, how can they do this year? Because they're due to move into a new stadium next year. Won't be at Wembley. They'll want those Champions League nights for that new stadium. Do you think they can make it into the Champions League? 'Cause I think they're only 3 points off it.
Obviously, City, they're going to be top 4. Obviously, United, they're going to be top 4. Chelsea are going to be strong, almost guaranteed top 4. They're fighting for second. And then you've got Liverpool, you've got Arsenal, and you've got potentially Burnley.
Yeah.
But I sort of like in the middle really with them. How long are they going to go? And then you've got Tottenham. And do you know what? In fairness to them, between Liverpool, Arsenal, Burnley and Tottenham, there's 3 points in it?
3 points.
There's 3 points in it. That whole thing in one day can flip. Especially because Tottenham's goal difference is pretty solid. Obviously, it's nowhere near as good as Liverpool's by 5 goals. But they aren't. I know it's 7th, which doesn't look great, but it's so close. It's really not that bad, and especially because Burnley you wouldn't expect them to be there. For example, so they are. There's no question they're still in with a shout because that is one good weekend that can flip that over. So, do they have a chance? Absolutely. There's no question why they can't. They have got the capabilities. It's the issues we've been talking about with the depth of the squad and so on that makes that top 4 more competitive than it's ever been. So, do I think they're going to make it? I think top 4 is going to be. I want to say Arsenal, and I honestly think Arsenal will take the top 4.
Okay.
But I think the closest rival will be Liverpool at the moment, just because I feel their attacking side is so powerful.
Yeah. I think it will be as it is at the minute. I think it will finish like that.
Yeah. What do you think between Burnley and Tottenham though? Think that will flip around? Tottenham stay 7th?
I've had an argument or a debate with someone on Twitter the other day about how Burnley can't realistically finish there. But I think, you know what, we're 18 games in. They've got such a good squad.
They've nearly played they've nearly played everyone.
Yeah, why can't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they can just get those results.
They're playing so fearlessly. I feel like they're just absolute men. They're playing like men at the moment. But I think Tottenham will probably come 6th, Burnley 7th.
Yeah.
But
fair enough.
The thing is, it's so close. They could come 5th, Arsenal come 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
Or they could come 4th and Liverpool 5th, Arsenal 6th. It's so...
Yeah.
It is that close. So.
It is close. Yeah, well, hopefully not for you, Spurs turn it around, but they play good football when they're on form, so it would be nice, and I think everyone would like to see Toby Alderweireld back. But that wraps up this podcast. Ibs, it's good to have you back, mate.
It's good to be back. It's been nice.
Going to be back, hopefully, for a little while now before we go back off.
Let's see.
So on that last, but yeah, if you did enjoy it, please remember to like, subscribe, comment anything or tweet us anything. It's all in the description. Anything on your opinions of what we've discussed today. Check out WhiteLinesCricket, check out WhiteLines F1, check out Nathan, check out the League One podcast, check out everything in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.
See you later, guys.